think they're opening up a couple in like Austin or Houston or whatever. Like in the
different counties.
Well, yeah, like
I don't really have a good idea of how big counties are in different places because Arizona's counties are massive.
Well, let's put it this way. The biggest county that we have in Texas is Dallas, and it's literally one fucking city.
So you have a bazillion.
It's no, I mean Dallas is fucking huge, but like, I mean no, Dallas is just fucking stupid, goddamn big. Like, there's no reason for a city to be that fucking big. Like, Dallas is bigger than like 5 or 6. Like, Dallas by itself is like the 6th largest state.
I'm curious to see. Let's see.
Hey, Stabby, start the show.
Oh, we went live a minute ago.
Oh, okay,
cool.
I'm looking at Phoenix versus Dallas population. So,
well, Phoenix, the problem is they keep dying, but then rising again. So you got to count them twice.
That's bad. That's
a little early for the dad jokes.
It's so bad, dude.
Even I wasn't ready for that one, dude.
It's a retirement place, so a good portion of it is a bunch of fucking old people.
Yeah, it's like Florida for like the West. You know,
it's got more youth than Florida.
It's just dry Florida.
You know, your winter home's probably in Arizona.
I know, because every fall / winter, everybody who is from, all of a sudden you just see it like peppered into the traffic everywhere is a bunch of random states that get mega cold.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking the town I'm at like fucking doubles in size during the fucking winter.
Oh yeah, God yes. Yeah, every winter it's something like 2 million or 3 million people flock to Arizona.
Yeah, I think there's like one town where it's like a few hundred people, and then during the winter it's like 10,000 people because just like every fucking RV goes there. Like, it's called Quartzsite, I think.
Oh yeah, Quartzsite, definitely. It's got like basically the families that own whatever few little like restaurants and whatever live there, and then during the winter, it's just like all of a sudden like you get a couple few thousand people hanging out there for the winter. But it to your point, it is weird because they get these like just oceans of like mobile homes and like RVs and all that stuff. So all of a sudden, a place that's pretty damn empty looks like a huge trailer park, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, there's over in Florence, there's a spot that basically like an entire subdivision that's like a retirement place that essentially half the year it's deserted. It's a fucking ghost town. Because they're all fucking essentially winter homes for them, dude. I remember when I was younger, I was like, I was seriously planning on getting my friends together and just robbing a shitload of those houses because I knew they'd be empty in the summer.
Like there's a city near me that is it's the poor part of Texas, if like North Texas, like it shouldn't be, but everyone there just keeps doing fucking meth and spending all their money on meth and buying and selling and making meth, so it just keeps turning into a shithole.
Yeah, it's like my town, dude. My entire
but like
county,
there,
really.
like so it's there's a shit ton of like trailer parks and mobile home whatever areas in there, but there's a bunch of them that are entirely fucking empty for about like
3/4 of the year.
Yeah, like 7-8 months out of the year, and like they still pay like their whatever, like their fucking monthly whatever, so that they can reserve
or whatever
the spot. Yeah, like they're paying their property taxes on the lot, which ends up like, because it's fucking Kennedale, it ain't shit because the city is poor and dumb as fuck. But yeah, like so like there's people that live up north that like these giant vacant fucking areas of that city just become like mobile homes and fucking RVs and shit like that during the winter.
Yeah,
and then like whenever it starts getting like warm again, like they just fucking pull up stakes and go back up north, and it's just fucking empty again. And then a bunch of fucking meth heads go and live there in tents and shit.
Well, I mean, at least they got a location.
I mean, yeah, but
They need a
Keep
place
them
to shut down too.
yeah.
Uh,
I used to hang out there, and then I realized like I was a junkie. I'm not that level of junkie. I'm like
He's a respectable
y'all far surpass me. Like kudos to you, sir. You win.
Yeah, despite his best efforts.
I cannot compete with that level of junkie.
But you
No, there's a
tried.
shitload of like just out of town here.
Of course,
like,
obviously.
To the west, dude, where there's a fucking I don't know if it's still. I'm sure it still is, but yeah, spots where there's just fucking meth labs out in the middle of fucking nowhere, in the middle of the desert.
Bunch
Well,
of
you know
fucking
what,
Walter White wannabes.
to their credit, I mean, at least they didn't. If they're gonna blow up something, it might as well be in the middle of nowhere, as opposed to like 3
Yeah.
houses down.
Yeah, just other meth labs, if anything.
Well, and
That's
and
good.
there you go.
Very
You know what?
conscientious of them.
That
No,
is
That
that
could be
is
a fun
very-
fireworks show if you did it right.
That is very nice.
And one thing I will say, because you'll know my story. I've been around a lot of fucking junkies and fucking cooks and shit. You know,
Oh yeah.
even the sloppiest, dirtiest, grimy motherfucker will be real safe in their own fucking like in their own kitchen. You know, like I'm not gonna call it like a cook site or a fucking meth lab. It's a kitchen. Like that's what they're called. They're fucking called a kitchen. But so I don't understand like the meth lab explosions unless it's just a pandemic of just dumbass people showing up to meth labs, not knowing it's meth labs and lighting cigarettes at the wrong fucking time like a dumbass.
What if it's people that are just blowing up fucking competition?
I mean, fucking maybe. Like that would make more sense. But like I've met a shit ton of these people that cook, and nah, dude, they're paranoid as fuck. Like their OCD is as shit. Like they'll be covered in dirt and grime and haven't showered in 17 days, but they keep their fucking cook site immaculate.
Well, man, at the end of the day, I mean, even professional labs with the best of the best precautions still occasionally have mishaps. So it's like when you're talking about jerry rigging a bunch of caustic, flammable, combustible things together that are gaseous and all of that, all it takes is like, I mean, if someone can forget their kid in the car, homie that's been up for 4 days straight, like, and is zoned out, it's entirely possible that something leaks, something happens.
That and in all actuality, like I've been around a lot of cooks. There's only 2 points in which the shit is actually caustic. Well, in all the different ways and versions
during the steps of doing it, it's
Yeah,
basically
like
two
there's-
different gases, or 2 gases and 1 flammable liquid at one point.
Yeah, but no, like there's only 2 times that it's caustic, and the rest of the time it's fine. And there's really only 1 time where it's genuinely fucking highly flammable. And like, I mean, there's other times where it could fucking blow up, like if you're like intentionally setting shit on fire. But for the most part, like it's just not gonna blow up. Like yeah, there's 1 time where yeah, like definitely like somebody smoking with an open window could fucking set it on fire.
Well, let's put it this way. Okay, so let's say they're going the real rough route, and they decide to bust out something like kerosene or a kerosene burner or like anything combustible. So they pour it, do whatever they're doing with it, and they leave the can open. And like they're in this little ass room that's probably not that well
Yeah.
ventilated, and all of a sudden it's like, you know, it's like leaving the gas on in your house, and then introduce a little extra oxygen or a good old spark along with it, and you're just like, oops. It's Phoenix had a lot of those, a lot of them at one point. It's gotten better, but I remember going to visit my mom, and we're talking, and like she lived with her boyfriend. This is like the nicest part of town in Phoenix Metro. So it's
your mom's still getting it. Good for her.
well, they've been together for 21 years now, so it's I mean, A for consistency. But I remember going up there, and we were inside, and we hear all these cars come whooping up, and all the sirens are on, and we look out front, and there's basically like the FBI, there's some local cops, there's a SWAT team, and they're all like basically approaching this house, and it's probably like 5 houses down.
Like actually FBI there, or just like a bunch of like unmarked cars? Oh
No,
shit!
no. Like,
so in that case, they had that scouted out for a long fucking time. Then,
oh yeah.
Because the FBI, just in general, they move slow as shit.
No,
Like cops
they
move
do.
slow as a general rule. Like unless they see you do something, nine times out of 10 they're not going to catch you, but you'll still probably get charged just because fucking cops.
The FBI, the FBI to move has
slow
to be
as
something
shit.
like imminent, where there is no time, like credible threat, or something crazy.
Right.
But yeah, so we kind of like just hang out by the door, and this is probably like at closest 5 doors, maybe at the furthest 6 or 7, but across the street and then down. So we kind of see a little bit from an angle.
Yeah,
and they were out there forever, like forever, and no one was home apparently. Like TLDR, no one was home. They went in, they came out, and then they proceeded to, because they had people come from the street behind the yard that was behind the backyards. All these people start coming out of like 2 or 3 of the neighboring houses, and what it was is somebody had bought these houses that were probably around $650,000 a piece for like less than maybe a quarter acre piece of property, period, and a house on there, and nobody was living in them. They were just cook sites.
Yeah.
That's my story. But that's in like the nicer part of like North Scottsdale. Like,
Yeah, that's nuts, dude. Why the
Yeah.
fuck would you?
it's low key.
Yeah, like I
it's
said, it
quiet.
makes sense to be out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Although that is kind of they'd never, you wouldn't suspect that kind of shit.
Yeah, because like everybody there generally, because in that neighborhood also, it's not totally unusual for people to have that as a winter home area, because it's like off the beaten path. It's north of Frank Lloyd Wright and McDowell Mountain.
Oh, I know exactly where that's at.
He does. He might.
I know,
If
North, yeah.
It's like
North Scottsdale.
any further north, you're gonna hit like Pinnacle Peak and Troon and all that stuff.
Yeah. I used to work at like 90th and Shea for
Yep.
a while.
Yeah, the only thing I know of over there, let's see, that's down past like where the Burger King and the CompUSA used to be, and the Best Buy. That's like further east than that. That's like
CompUSA. That's a throwback.
Dude, that was my first tech job in like 1997. Yeah, but it wasn't unusual for houses to be vacant because of the seasonal stuff, and it's behind like a gated area. You don't have to worry about anything. There's no real traffic and all that stuff. But yeah, like those houses had been vacant seemingly most of the year for like about 5 years, 3 to 5 years. So that place has probably been either vacant and then sold and then moved into, or it was operating for a long time.
Yay! We got a meth house in my neighborhood. My neighborhood's super suburban, just a standard, little fucking. Everybody's got their little house and their little lawn and all that bullshit. Tell you what, though, great neighbors. Never bothered anybody. Never started any shit with anybody. Everybody liked them, but they took
Well,
all
they
their
must not be
fucking
getting
trucks
by
and
on
cars
supply
and boats.
Yeah. Anyways, that all reminded me of that one of those 1,000 Way to Die stories that they used to have on TV. That's why I posted that link. It was basically a meth dude that would like chew gum constantly, but since the flavor kept going out, he had like this shit that he would dip it in to get more flavor back in it. And he decided it was a good idea to have that right next to his red phosphorus.
Oh.
And apparently one time accidentally put it into the red phosphorus instead of the flavor shit, and bit down on it and essentially, blew his fucking jaw off and half his head.
I'm surprised it didn't freak out from the moisture on the gum to begin with. Yeah, that would have been
it might
Why
have.
was
I mean,
it uncovered in the first place?
Yo, why you?
Yeah,
why
wouldn't
you?
something that explodes when you contact water like be like in some sort of oil solution or something?
No, it's a powder.
No, dry,
Yeah,
dry,
powder.
very,
It has to
very
be
dry.
You basically, it's kept in like dehumidified areas inside of containers that are sealed because you
Well,
want
yeah,
it.
like,
You want it as close
and
to
like,
dry.
and
Well, because there's other
actual-
stuff that's hydro explosive, where like if it touches water, it blows up. And it comes in little chunks of fucking metal, and they keep that suspended in
fucking,
oil all the time.
Potassium.
Yeah, no, not potassium.
Potassium
Magnesium.
will blow up in water, dude. I remember that in fucking
That is true, but it's a little bit different. This stuff, red phosphorus, is a fairly fine powder.
So it's just
not
not
quite-
feasible
Yeah, it's
to
like-
keep it contained in oil because it would just be like fucking. Yeah, you have oil, no matter what
Well,
you
and-
do in your fucking
and
mix.
plus the other thing is it may actually dissolve or start to break down and stuff like that inside of an oil, even if it's not combustible.
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like-
Red phosphorus is pretty
I would say,
unstable.
kind of volatile.
yeah, I would. It's not as fine powder as like flour, but it's like probably, but it's not crystallized
sugar?
like that. I would say in between powdered sugar and like just table white sugar.
No, it's about powdered sugar.
The stuff I saw, it was more granulated in my mind.
No,
It's in between. It's not quite that fine, but it's not as rough as the other one.
Holy shit!
think-
It does
think
not matter.
It's like
Oh,
it's
yeah?
like
It
if
really
you took some
doesn't.
sugar and you put it in a coffee grinder and then you wound it up in the coffee grinder, but only for 10
We gotta nail.
seconds.
Let's get a scale.
No, fuck your mother.
I
9
like
seconds.
pH scale.
9
Let's
seconds.
nail exactly how granulated it is.
8.7 seconds. Jesus Christ.
This is
Oh man, that was getting great.
I was tempted to see how far you guys went, but then I got bored.
Hey, if you want to find out, just break open a road flare carefully.
I wonder if meth cookers now consider it like cliche to dress like Walter White and do their fucking like cooking, or if there's ever a point where like if you went into a meth lab, there would be at least one dude walking around with like the fucking underwear and the shirt.
Oh, like that?
Yeah.
I'm sure that is probably something that people do because you don't want, obviously for the same reason, like you don't want bullshit on your clothes. In any lab, you would have normally coveralls and stuff like that, but
Most of what I see is fucking hoodies and shit. That's just what that's what they fucking like. That's their cook outfit. Like hoodies and some fucking
Their
sweats,
smoking jacket.
or some jeans that they like just whatever.
Cheap
Like
ass
they don't
shit.
wear anywhere else.
Yeah, it's
'Cause,
cheap
yeah,
ass
no, like,
shit that they
that-
yeah.
That's the thing. Like if you ever walk into like a CVS at like 1 o'clock in the morning and just think like it smells like a fucking pharmacy in here. Like it smells like a pharmacy and asshole. Yeah, it's
somebody buying shit for a food thing. What the fuck's going on?
and the other thing is like even the stuff that's not necessarily combustible or flammable and whatnot, like a lot of that stuff in the byproducts is crazy corrosive. Like I've seen some gnarly pictures of some of the aftermath of places.
like what?
Like walls around the area, like backsplash, like people that were using their kitchen stove and stuff like that as a heat source. like you want fire.
No, never do that. Why would they do that?
Dude, we're talking about like people that are trying to
No.
take Sudafed and
I
turn it
think-
into smoke.
I think the thing, Satan, you're missing is you worked for a guy who ran a really tight ship.
The average
versus
person that's
the
doing
average
it,
meth head is a fucking
style.
retard.
Dude, they're
So-
like breaking open batteries to get like lithium and out
Well,
of things, like
Didn't
doing
there
all
used
kinds
to
of wacky
be
shit.
a thing they would do like in a water bottle, like in their fucking purse? There was like a thing you could do to make like a really ghetto form of meth.
I'm sure that's possible. It's
I
probably
mean, like there's a bunch of things that you can make look like meth and smoke like meth, and it'll taste like it, but you won't get the same high. It'll just be oily and fucking gross, and it'll taste like shit, and it'll leave fucking like you'll be sitting there with like this oily crap in your mouth for fucking days afterwards.
I've had
got
clients
burned.
snort drywall.
Like it'll look like it, and it'll smoke like it, kinda, but you're not gonna get high. It'll taste like shit, and ittle just no.
Let's do it this way. Like, I can't even do it justice. If you do pictures of meth lab busts, and you find photos on there, some of them will look okay. Some of them will look like the walls are fucking rusting off. Like, just, and like almost like somebody took like chewing tobacco and like started to like smeared it on the wall and let it just sit there and get gross for who knows how long. Like
nine times out of 10, it's because they found a place that was already abandoned and looked like shit and happened like that. Like I've never understood even the stuff that's like the corrosive. If you're splashing that shit fucking anywhere, you're getting burned like a dumb motherfucker. Like, why is that splashing? How the hell are you letting that splash?
Well, and if it's not a splash too, like, you have to remember, like, some people are just doing this with like regular, like a Pyrex measuring cup and some bullshit that they threw together in their kitchen. So, like, with not a lot of ventilation going on, and
hey,
like
Pyrex works. What do you mean?
Well, of course it does. But it's an open
product.
But it's an open lid too, and it's not like you're evacuating fumes. Like, you do this stuff long enough with certain kinds of combinations of different chemicals, like really ghetto chemicals, and dude, that stuff does bad things to surfaces. It's not really corroding it.
No one's gotten any FDA approved fucking meth since they fucking outlawed the purplies back in like the early 90s.
We're the G.I. Joe like safety ad that never got aired. Now you know. Knowing is half the battle. Use a lid on your chemical containers in your kitchen.
Like, no, you know those diet pills from I think they were like most popular in like the mid to late 80s, but like they got
hydroxycut,
yeah, like Fen-Phen and hydroxycut and all that shit.
Oh god, what is it?
Well, and they even kept selling that like it was different than like the original formula. It just stopped fucking working because the original formula was basically fucking meth.
Yeah, they're like, yo,
just taking meth pills.
Here, all you gotta do is take this. It's got a little bit of vitamin C to help your metabolism, and like 300 milligrams of amphetamines.
Well, no, and okay, so those things did get you a little bit high. Like they were speed, like they were fucking meth, but they were also like in a lab, done specifically. Like the parts of meth that make you that suppress your appetite. Like they found a way to like, yeah, let's boost that side effect of meth, and try and limit the whole, you know, addictive fucking rot your teeth, fucking end up going to jail sucking dick. Let's limit that and boost the.
They were still addictive though. Like, people would take
because you dick for some hydroxycut.
You remember Dexatrim was the other one.
Well, there was Fen-Phen,
that
hydroxycut,
was a little bit
Dexatrim.
later, and
that was
then,
like
there was a bunch of different shit.
Yeah, but that died off real quick because that was right towards the end when everyone was like, yeah, you can't just sell meth as a diet supplement. Like, that's not okay.
That's only for the really poor supermodels that can't afford cocaine.
Which for the record, I am entirely against. If meth helps you lose weight, that should be allowed as a fucking diet supplement.
I don't fucking legalize it all. Just fuck it. Just do whatever drug you want.
Wait. I legalize all of it except for fucking PCP and heroin, just because I've never met any of those two kinds of people and not felt like I was gonna get stabbed. Fuck the fucking PCP.
But if you could just work a job and buy fucking heroin, the PCP, you might be right. That might be a little too fucking dangerous.
I'm gonna go ahead and
PCP is a weird one.
I'm gonna go ahead and say, like, Angel Dust, PCP, all that stuff. We
I
can
thought
go
Angel
ahead.
Dust was PCP.
I know, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, okay.
Just know. Just know. There is no justifiable use for that.
Now. We
unless you're gonna be a
shouldn't
pit
talk
fighter.
back poorly about something if we haven't tried it. No.
What if you really want to get high?
I tried it. That shit sucks.
I've none of the things that it does to you when you're high have ever sounded remotely appealing to me. I don't understand it either.
No.
Like, do you want to break a beer bottle and then throw it at your friend and it stabbed him in the chest, and then you try and kick it like while it's in their chest, and then try and like a day later be like, hey, I'm sorry, can we still be friends? No. Oh, because I tried to murder you. I'm sorry. Oh, that's not good enough. All right, that's fine.
At the time, you were
Jesus.
I was high as shit, dude, and I understand why he didn't want to fucking talk to me no more. I tried to murder him. Like, I didn't realize that's what I was doing at the time, but I was trying to murder him.
Do you remember what you thought you were doing at the time?
No.
Please say giving him a hug. Please say giving him a hug.
No, I just all I know is I remember thinking this will be funny.
Well, in a way, we are laughing.
It's funny later
Because it didn't happen.
PCP,
Yeah,
that joke you
why
tell
he
in
wouldn't,
10 years.
in the moment, find it that funny. But
Oh, wait. PCP, that joke you tell in 5 to 10.
Because you're not serving 5 to 10.
Yeah, dude, no, fuck PCP though. Like that shit.
I think the heroin, though, would probably be fine. I think that just if it wasn't so illegal that you could just work your shitty gas station job and fucking buy yourself a fucking 6-pack of heroin and go fucking home and shoot up, you'd probably be less inclined to go stab people for that.
I don't
shit.
know, anywhere that sells it would have to be behind fucking bulletproof glass and shit.
Detroit, you're our resident heroin piece of shit.
He's just me behind bulletproof glass.
No, I was too dumb to realize that heroin would be cheaper, but yeah.
But I mean, if it was like pot.
I thought you did get into needles for a little while.
No.
Oh.
I never did. I was like the only person in rehab that, again, never figured out that it would actually get a lot cheaper.
Ooh, I want heroin strains like
I
pot
just started
strains with different
shooting
names.
Heroin.
They technically do. Isn't there
Here's-
China White and black tar?
Here's
Well, I mean,
coma.
like there's a couple different ways of actually, like, basically it's where you're getting it from, and there's about 3. Like the main 2 are China White, black tar, and then there's another one which I've heard it called a bunch of different fucking names, but essentially it's like the yellowish fucking brown shit.
Oh man, no, they need better names. These are terrible
Sulfur-colored
names.
stuff.
Yellow sidewalk nap. I mean,
Or
come on.
fucking something, but yeah, no, like China
Yellow
White
not off on your
and
feet.
it has a shit ton of fucking different names too. And then you have black tar, which has a shit ton of different fucking names too. And then there's another one that is less prevalent than those main 2, but it's still coming from the same general areas as where you get the other 2 from.
Not
and it
black
has
tar,
another
dark
name.
chocolate.
But yeah, no, like there's essentially 3 different kinds of heroin, and it's essentially just like where it's coming from and how it's processed.
They just need to rebrand it.
How
That's the
pure it is
problem.
or not pure.
Like, have one strain called, like, the Void.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds a lot better for marketing purposes than Smack or, I don't know. Just seems like, I think all of it except for yeah, definitely PCP. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I think should not be legalized and regulated. And I'm okay with everything else, because at that point I feel like we're touching at least all the major things that people get into, and that way if people want to get clean and all that stuff, they can without worrying about going to prison.
Well, I think the key is you take away the not being able to have a job, not being able to pay for their own habit. Because it's manufactured like weed, everybody can fucking afford it. You know, it's like.
Well, there's a problem with the way a lot of I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a better situation than people getting thrown in prison for having a fucking joint on them.
Right.
But like the big problem is that a lot of these states are making, like, I want to say it's New York or Massachusetts, one of those very far northeast states. What they do is they say, okay, you can apply, and basically apply and pay for this expensive license, right, to run a dispensary. But the catch is you have to be totally vertically integrated, meaning you've got your own grow house that you grow, you've got your own processing, you've got your own packaging, and then you run your own store. That's a prerequisite for having a place up there, the way that they're doing it.
That would have to be that would have to be not New York, because that's not how they're doing it.
Then it's definitely in the Northeast. I can't remember the exact state, but
that sounds crazy as fuck.
Well, the reason why
they tried that shit in Ohio, where it was going to be like, we're going to legalize weed, but only these 3 guys get to make money off of it.
Well,
fuck everyone else.
They did the same thing whenever they first did it in Colorado, and then realized almost immediately that, oh no, this is a terrible way to do this. If we do this, this is essentially going to become a state-run cartel. This is a bad way to do this, and they immediately, like almost like within like a month and a half, 2 months of them legalizing weed in Colorado, it's like, oh yeah, no, yeah, whoever wants to can essentially do this. We fucked up.
That moment of, are we the bad guys, Carl?
Oh no, like genuinely though, like there was a drastic change like after the first couple of weeks of like in Colorado. Like I've heard a ton of people fucking talk about like how it went from like, hey, weed's legal, yeah, come to the dispensary, to like within like the next 2 or 3 weeks it being like, holy shit, this got seedier than when I was buying under the fucking overpass. And like real fucking fast.
The big overall problem that's happening in the way all the states are doing it to varying degrees is like California, for instance. They're like, okay, you can grow, here's your stuff you can do and all this, but you can only, like, if you're going to apply for a certain permit to grow, like, for farmland or whatever, this is the limited size that it could be and things like that. So what's happening is, but they made it relatively cost effective, and there's some rules that are kind of fucked up that allow this, but basically like big, huge startup companies full of like really super rich millionaires, things like that, are starting these companies, and then what they're doing is they're creating individual LLCs and things like that, and applying for a plot of land under each different LLC because it's legal. It's totally fine. So They're buying up like a monopoly share of it and then making it to where it's hard for other people to do. There's other places that they have basically different sets of rules that make it to where you guys or myself or somebody couldn't realistically ever attain this without having extraordinary startup capital, which basically makes it so cigarette companies, large startup companies, LLCs, stuff like that are basically shells to come in fully funded by these megacorps and just have an immediate monopoly on it.
Whenever Washington did their Washington State did their legalization, there was a specific part in their state legislature that essentially said that tobacco companies, fuck you, you are exempt from this law. It's still illegal for you to do this. I mean, which is not exactly how they did it. It was much less ridiculous than the way I fucking said it. But like they made it
shut them out.
Incredibly difficult for them to be able to be involved in it, which I disagree with in principle, but I agree with wholeheartedly in like the out, like, yeah.
Until there's principle, and then there's like the reality setting it in a certain point where you just have to be if we don't do this, they're just gonna fucking run everything.
Well, and the thing is,
that's where I'm at.
If it was nationally legal, like just boom, like we don't have to worry about the state stuff. It's just like federally legal. Then you wouldn't have to have all this weird stuff happening, because it would be basically impossible to shut anybody out from a monopoly. If you could still grow, if it was just legal, like you can grow it, like you can grow tomatoes, but you can't, maybe have XYZ amount of plants, above a certain amount or whatever.
Fucking speaking about federally legal, there's still one fucking douchebag piece of shit DEA agent that has been fucking over countless dispensaries in fucking Colorado, New York, Washington, New York, or fucking California, New York.
How many New Yorks do we got in this fucking country?
I know. I keep saying
I'm
New York,
counting
and
three
I'm trying
so
to say
far.
fucking
We
somebody
got
else.
New York. We got New York.
No, okay. But
We got
anyway,
California,
like,
York.
there's one fucking DEA agent, and his name is literally John fucking Smith. And I genuinely would be 100% okay with like, I don't like executive orders coming from fucking anyone, period. Democrat, Republican, what
The executive orders defeat the whole purpose of the fucking 3 different branches.
Right, but I would be 100% okay with an executive order for his fucking execution. Fuck that piece of shit. He's ruined so many goddamn lives just because he.
And lives and goods, yeah.
I don't like weed.
Dude, one of the new games.
Fuck that guy.
One of the new things that you're gonna see, because it's already slowly begun in the less than a month ago, is there's CBD, which through the Farming Reform Act of 2018 is how hemp is legal, which is why all byproducts of hemp make CBD legal, all that stuff.
And there are even forms of like the CBD oils and the like, as long as it's not a plant, nothing that you can actually smoke. There are forms of CBD with THC in it that you can actually sell as like an oil or a lotion or a rub or whatever, even fucking pills.
As long as it's below, any of it is legal.
It's below 10%.
Well, it's 0.3 is what is the federal THC limitation, or less, without a card. Just like go to the store, buy it. I had reason to look into it because I was genuinely set off and curious about this. But THC Delta 9 is like the thing that is specifically illegal. Well, here's where the gray area came in. They figured out a way to synthesize and process out of hemp. It's not a synthetic thing. They've just extracted it out and basically been able to make THC Delta 8, which is like a less psychoactive but still psychoactive molecule. Everything is, it's basically like 2/3 of the way, or maybe just over half of the way, from what I understand, to what THC Delta 9 is. So it's legal. So you can. So here's the thing.
Delta 4.5.
So, and basically all that means, because I was legitimately curious what the specific difference was, and the difference is that it's missing one double bonded hydrogen atom in one place. That's it. Otherwise, it's identical. And so because that's legal, people have been selling it and processing it in vape cartridges and things like that. And it will still get you a buzz, all that stuff. It's not CBD. You can get straight up THC Delta 9.
And if there's one thing potheads are down with, it's something that's close enough.
Well, and like there's a lot of research that's been done on it. Like I was reading a bunch of stuff because I was legitimately like just kind of curious what the hell, how this was possible. And basically what it is because they in the Schedule 1 stuff, it specifically outlines THC Delta 9. Because this is not THC Delta 9, people are like, it's legal because it is able to be gotten directly from hemp. You don't need cannabis. Like you can process it down, all that stuff. It's not. It is a derivative.
Similar to bath salts, but with less face chewing.
Okay, no, wait. Okay, fucking pause. All right, because when bath salts first fucking came out, that shit was 100% entirely safe and less addictive than almost every other fucking Schedule 1 fucking drug. It was fun as shit to do. It was less addictive than most Schedule 1s, and there was no fucking negative side effects like the goddamn weird face chewing. You know why that shit became a thing?
Oh, because they made the bath salts illegal and they kept changing the formula.
Okay, yeah, no, like
this
chemical is illegal. Okay, so we'll change it a bit. All right, now this chemical is illegal, so we'll change it a bit. Now this chemical is legal, so we'll change it a bit. So now you got weird motherfuckers selling random fucking weird shit that'll make you fucking chew your friend's face off. The original shit was fine.
Anyway.
Hey guys, I have a business idea for us.
I wonder if that guy thought it would be funny.
So I just want to be real clear about one thing, that the THC Delta 8 is not a modified.
No, it's not a modified
organic thing.
THC
It's
molecule. I get that.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's one of the things that is.
I'm just saying similar in that, like, they're both just slightly different from the chemical formula of the illegal one.
Right.
Oh no, but like the fucking bath salts, it was literally a synthetic made chiron of cocaine, which is essentially like it's the same atom, same molecule, whatever. It's just backwards, basically.
Yeah, it's a mirror reverse.
And it was fucking safer than cocaine was. It was fucking safer than cocaine, and they went, "Oh no, you can't do that because it's like cocaine." All right, well let's make it worse.
Here's
we
a fun
just
fact.
need mirrors in all the factories that make dangerous chemicals.
Well, here's a fun fact talking about chirons. Is I'm sure you know about like the thalidomide, like the birth defects and stuff like that. Like we're basically people were taking thalidomide and it was legitimately a very helpful drug. And
Great for pregnant moms.
but here's the thing. It's actually not harmful for pregnant moms. The problem was, this is when before we fully understood chirons. And what they were doing is they were making something that is chemically identical, but in some of the batches, and they didn't really know like any differently, is that it was the same molecule, but a mirror image of it, which then
It's still very similar, but your body sometimes with certain chemicals reacts to it
They're
very
totally
fucking differently.
And so what was happening is like
the little my babies are so cute. They got little flippers.
So you'd have thalidomide A, which was the intended one, and then during processing, occasionally you would get batches of the B version, which tested all the same, everything looked all the same, and this is like in the 50s, I believe 50s, early 60s.
Well, I know it was like late 60s, early 70s that all those studies about chirons started becoming a thing.
And that's when like we knew that thalidomide as a whole was causing birth defects after a while, but they didn't know why.
Right.
Because some people had no problem with it, some people had the worst.
It wasn't until about 5-10 years later that
then they learned about chirons, and they're like, oh shit, like we basically have been making a chemically identical but everything put in reverse version of it, and then they went back and did studies and looked at all the data and stuff like that, and they figured out that was the difference in the people that were having birth defects and not. But by then, like, they basically came up with other stuff not too long after that was good for doing the same thing that wasn't fucking dangerous.
No flipper
They
babies.
gave this with little boxer gloves. I mean, I know that's horrible, but it's so fucking cute. Look at these little boxer gloves. Fucking so. Oh,
It just looks like a fucking.
That is the cutest dolphin I've ever fucking seen.
Actual flipper baby.
That is the cutest dolphin I have ever fucking seen.
Oh my god.
But yeah.
Actually, there have been a few flipper babies.
Oh, that's my next search, Flipper Baby.
I haven't watched Brain Candy in a while. I missed that movie.
Oh, it's just thalidomide babies. That's not as funny.
Well, yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, there's thalidomide babies in a pool.
Oh no!
Well, they're not technically in the pool. They're just kind of sitting on the edge of the pool. But I mean, it's just one little slip.
Is the kid's name Bob?
Yeah, named Bob. Oh, I'm going to hell. Oh, hey, what's up? Rotten Silence and Rick, how's it going, man? I didn't see the chat. I was looking at the thalidomide babies because I'm a fucking degenerate.
Okay, Rick. 100%. I need to fucking know. Are you fucking with me or not? I can't tell if you're retarded or if you're fucking with me. I need to fucking know. So I need to know whether we.
I mean, if he was fucking with you, I'm pretty sure you'd feel it. I mean,
Like,
unless it's like a real,
if you're genuinely
micro-penis.
retarded, I'm gonna be nice to you. But if you're just fucking with me, fuck you, dude. I'm treating you like every other piece of shit.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious as a joke. The mask thing, you think that was possibly serious?
I can't tell anymore. There's so many
Yeah,
genuinely dumb people
Dude.
that I run into. I can't tell anymore.
You want to
Dude,
hear
listen
a
to
fucked
this
up,
shit.
weird story about dumb people?
Dude, hold on, really quick.
Oh, go ahead,
Dude,
yeah.
the gym finally reopened here, but you have to wear a mask at all times, dude. So, like, you're doing cardio or whatever, you have to keep your mask on.
But aren't you
Sorry.
like sweating all over the place? Wouldn't the
It's not even
bacteria
just
be in
that.
your sweat like
I don't
all
care
over
what
the
anybody
surface of everything?
says, it's gonna fuck with your breathing, dude. Fucks with my breathing just walking around the fucking grocery store.
It's definitely fucking obnoxious to wear them. I do as much as I can to not wear them. Like we did. There's a thing where you can just do a drive up and they load your car with the groceries, so you don't have to like go in. You just order all the shit.
Well, yeah, grocery shopping's fine, but then if you're at a gym working out, why the fuck, especially doing cardio and shit, why the fuck would you have to wear a mask for that?
Like, yesterday was the first time I ever had anyone come up to me and start yelling at me about my mask. And I put my mask on right before I went into Costco, went and did my fucking shopping in Costco, came out, and as I was putting the fucking groceries away, I took my mask off, lit a fucking cigarette. And this guy who was walking into the store, like, hadn't even got his fucking cart yet, because you pick him up at the front, started bitching at me about my mask. So I'm sitting there just staring at this guy. He keeps going fucking on and on, like for like a good 2 fucking minutes. Which when you're just sitting there staring at the dude and he still keeps going for a good like 120 fucking seconds, it's a long fucking time. And I'm like, he's eventually gonna shut the fuck up. No, I'm sitting there just staring at him like silent, dead-eyed, just looking at him, and I'm like, I will rape you if you don't fucking leave right goddamn now. Do you understand me? I will fuck you in the ass. He's like wide-eyed, just like, what? I fucked up. I fucked up.
I love that threat. You gotta pick up a pound of butter when you do that.
I was like, all right, eventually he'll shut the fuck up, and he kept fucking going. I was like, dude, I'm outside putting my shut the fuck. I will rape you. Do you? I will fuck you in the ass if you do not walk the fuck away.
I will
Seriously,
use
man, I got bananas. I will give you the amazing atheist treatment.
I will use your anus as a koozie.
But like I'm out. I obeyed the fucking law. I put the mask on when I went inside. I don't fucking like it, but I don't like that it's mandated. But I get that it's necessary.
In a parking lot,
Whatever.
like he doesn't have to
But
go
like,
anywhere fucking near
in
you.
a parking lot, yeah. Oh
What
no!
a fucking winner.
That was the first time I went from saying no words to I will rape you.
I spent 2 months wearing. I spent 2 months in an un-air conditioned marble granite countertop and tile factory doing my IT shit with a mask on, and I didn't think it was that big of a fucking deal. Like, it's annoying, but it's like, yeah, being in bed sick is pretty annoying. And
Ironically,
go ahead.
My whole thing about it is that I just people should be wearing a mask. Stores, I think, should be allowed to tell you, yeah, you have to wear a mask to enter our store. That's fine. My entire issue from the very fucking beginning was a fucking state mandate.
Yeah, that's really the only thing that's the problem there.
No, like they should be wearing a mask. The state should be telling people to wear a mask. But the second you make that a fucking law, you just made the people not wearing a mask the like fucking patriots because you did something dumb. Fucking don't do that shit.
I mean, to be fair, most laws and mandates are because people are too fucking irresponsible and stupid to do things that they should be doing, and in cases where it's not just their own ass, it's other people's asses.
That's the entire reason why we have rights and why the rights are supersede, like, even the fact that it could potentially kill people.
But that's not actually true.
Yeah, it's 100% true, but all right.
No, it's 100% not. It is, dude. You can laugh all you want, but it's a well-established Supreme Court opinion that people's rights start and stop when it starts to become a danger to the public or others.
People's rights start and stop when it starts to affect other people's rights.
No, rights are an arbitrary idea. It doesn't supersede someone else's ability to live, and that's the point.
No, the Second Amendment directly fucking facilitates that.
Well, no, that's not true because
You have the
here's
right to shoot and kill somebody who's
Yeah,
violating your rights.
Not
No,
necessarily. Like that's not in the Second Amendment. That's
It's an
written in
implied
law.
right.
No. Hold on, wait. I'm not entirely agreeing with Lyman here, but he's partially right. But you're also going way too far, Step. Like, yes, the Second Amendment is fucking great. I fucking love the Second Amendment. I fucking love my guns. But the Second Amendment isn't there to say, hey, no, you can shoot and kill someone if they are attacking. No, that's giving you the right to have that the ability to self-defend.
You're getting into direct rights and implied rights.
Well, no, but here's the thing.
The
implied rights are how you get things like, freedom of expression.
No, like
So you can't have one and then just pretend that the other one doesn't exist.
You can, but here's the one important thing to remember about the Constitution, 100%, is that me violating your rights is not an issue. To me, you have no rights. The Constitution, and I have no rights as far as you go, because the Constitution is a limitation of government power. It is not something that is given to you and I that you and I are beholden to one another for. It's strictly a limitation and shackle on government power. It has nothing to do with you or me or anybody else as individuals.
Oh, that doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about, but all right.
It does. You just said if somebody's violating your rights, it gives you the ability to shoot them, which is 100% incorrect because no individual can violate your rights.
That's what castle doctrine laws are based on.
But
they're based on the implied right of self-defense that the Second Amendment puts forth.
Self-defense.
No, castle doctrines are put in place to uphold the Second Amendment, but to also give you extended rights that the Second Amendment doesn't expressly give you.
For
the Second Amendment gives you the right to have the weapons, right? Like to have the weapons, to have the ability to self-defend. The additional laws and things that are put in place after that help prop up the Second Amendment are there so that, hey, if you use your gun because some asshole tried to fucking steal your shit or tried to assault you or whatever
on your property, in your home, or in your business, or in your car.
Things like that, that defends you because of that, but it's not given to you specifically by the Second Amendment.
No, the castle doctrine is specifically self-defense in basically your home, place of business, vehicle, whatever is considered your private domain, and the public. And
there are other things involved with that. The castle doctrine specifically is very fun. But like just the right to self-defense and all the laws put in place to essentially protect you from the state for protecting yourself is entirely separate from the Second Amendment.
But yeah, the whole idea of the Constitution, anybody having to respect anybody's freedom of expression or anything else in the Constitution, is absolute nonsense, because the public, if they are not acting in capacity of a place that receives government money or as some sort of government official, then they are beholden to it while they are in the process of enacting whatever job they have. If you are a civilian on the street, nobody has to respect any of your constitutional rights, and vice versa, because it has nothing to do with people.
I'm not saying
100%, which is also
anything
like
about
my main reason why I think that the hate speech laws go against the First Amendment. You have the right to be a dick.
But that's also where it comes. The reason why they can do that is because, again, it goes with the whole when it becomes a danger to society and others, then and we know factually that it can be. Some people just run their mouth and it's whatever, but there's certain and there's also the way they also restrict it without restricting it is the time, place, and manner concessions, which means like if you want to be, let's say, I don't know, pick a university, right? And all universities receive government funding in some form, so they, to some degree,
unfortunately, even the fucking private ones, which I think is dumb as shit, but okay,
just fucking dumb. But what they can, like, you could say, I would like to speak 6 months from now on this date, and they could tell you no and propose an alternative date. They could say, okay, but we're not having you in our auditorium. We have a small venue that's local that we will pay to have you speak at. And they can also regulate reasonable concessions for it.
Are you talking about a public university, one that's run by, like, funded by the state? Or are you talking about a private university? Because there's two different sets of rules there.
Oh, they essentially fall under the same rules because whether it's public or private, they all get money from the state, so they all still fall under this law.
Yeah, if they took absolutely no state money whatsoever, then it would be a private. It would be exactly. There's no school on this planet that doesn't take government money in some way.
That's.
And so at the end of the day, they can also say, like, okay, well, you're a very controversial person, and so because it's more difficult for us to, like, okay, there's a security you're bringing. Here's our normal security. We have to beef things up above by this much, which cost us this much, and so you have to pay for our expenses for that because you want to speak here, and we're not saying you can't, but we're also not going to incur the extra fees because of whatever has to be done to make it okay to have it happen safely. Like, at the end of the day, everything has a limit. Rights are not universal. They are not, like, the only ones that are unquestioned is like having soldiers quartered in your home and shit like that. Like, that's very super fucking clear, and it's real, like, simple too. It's like, government people can't sleep in my house. But to the point of, like, mandates,
which has been broken 17 times throughout the U.S. And it was only prosecuted against once.
And it's probably been a hot minute too.
late 50s, early 60s was the last time it happened. Oh no, like in actual fucking time, like it's been a while, but it's still fairly fucking recent. But it used to happen all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm. No,
it happened a lot in World War II. Like, I mean, and granted, like it's still considered two separate instances, like of the 17. But of those two instances, it was a shit ton of different times that it happened within those two instances, like over the course of like a couple of months.
Well, and part of it is like, if someone was like, "Hey, can we have people stay at your house? Are you cool with that?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." Then that's not a problem. If they basically like, in cop movies where they like commandeer someone's car and take it, if it's that sort of thing, like that's absolutely not okay.
Well, like civil forfeiture or police like, if you're considering the Fourth Amendment being broken by
no, I'm not saying that
commandeering a vehicle, then it's happened thousands of times.
No, I'm talking about specifically your home and your domicile. Like, it's like they can't come in and be like, you need to leave. We're putting people in here now, and we're just gonna stay here. Like, they absolutely can't. Like, the state can't quarter like the National Guard in your fucking home because it's expedient. Like, that would just never happen.
I think the closest thing we've had to that in recent history, I mean, actually really recent history, was with the whole fucking Chaz Chop thing, where there was people who lived inside that area, and like during that whole Chaz Chop, the city of Seattle, or the city of Seattle, and all of fucking like a lot of the state representatives wholeheartedly backed what was going on there. Like, yes, like we agree with you, blah blah blah. Like this is a great protest. It's necessary. There were people who lived inside that city who were kicked out of their homes by the protesters.
Yeah, so those people now have obviously
forced
the option to sue the city for a fuck ton of money and probably will win.
Well, and the thing is like if the protesters aren't the government.
In that case, it wasn't technically the state; it was just a bunch of protesters.
You're suing the city for failure to uphold the law and actually, like, essentially allowing and encouraging like the lawlessness.
Well, I mean,
it's probably going to be a really big set of cases.
Some sort of settlement out of it, but
and they should. Like, what happened with those?
I'm wondering if any of this comes back to anything relevant to what you guys were like, the implied rights or explicit rights.
It does.
Oh, I don't know. I'm really fucking drunk, so I don't know what to talk about.
Because I already know you're wrong. I'm just like, now we've just gone into like fucking left field, which is fine. We don't have to go back to it. They're just like
Tarantino
somewhere completely fucking different.
Enough is that with the exception of laws that are really clear cut like that, I'm sorry.
What about Tarantino?
Amendments. Like,
Are we following Tarantino's fucking Supreme Court now? Did Samuel L. Jackson say, "Motherfucker, I said so"? Is that how you get your fucking proof?
No, but like every single one of the rights, like 1A, 2A.
A sign on my house that said "Dead nigger quartering."
I genuinely, I would look into implied versus explicit rights because you're definitely not right.
Well, no, but here's the thing: is that there are limitations to all rights that are afforded by the Constitution. Like full stop.
There are no limitations to any of the rights afforded by the Constitution. There are limitations placed in part by subsequent types of legislation and by the Supreme Court.
Well, that's the point.
That's not the Constitution.
They are like the argument is whether or not those are just. Like the fucking gun laws do. It's the fact that we have any gun laws, period, does not violate the Second Amendment.
Obviously it does. But I'm saying you're saying constitutionally that it's limited, and I'm saying no, the Constitution doesn't place any limits. We have placed limits that may or may not be legal,
but
and in many cases haven't been challenged.
The Constitution is not meant to be like with very minor exceptions in there. They're not hard written down to where they're not left to be interpreted. There's a reason why there's like hundreds and thousands of constitutional scholars for the last like 240 years who have literally
because interpretation became a way to go around actually following the law.
That's what law is.
No,
it's literally no, dude. It literally is. Tell me one single law that is concrete, no dispute. You can't dispute anybody's action or occurrence or anything like that. To where it's like, is it this or is it not?
Okay, here we go. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances.
But
so, what about that is limited by itself, or what about that is limited in the Constitution?
What is thereof?
What is there? What are you talking about? You don't understand words?
No, I understand the words.
The thing is, the reason
I'm saying there are limitations placed.
I'm grudgingly agreeing with Lyman here, but he's kind of right. Like, there's a reason constitutional scholars are a fucking thing, and their job, whether they're lawyers or they're just dickholes who fucking read a lot in college, and now that their job is
judges
to argue shit. Well, I mean, judges too. Like, but I usually lump them with.
Sure,
but yeah. Because 90% of them are, not all, but it's usually just the local ones that aren't fucking actually lawyers that decide whether or not you go to fucking jail. I don't know the law or shit, but I can decide whether you go to jail.
Yeah, a lot of those are, but I'm talking about the federal judges are. They don't have to be because they're appointed, but I mean that just doesn't fucking happen. Because they all get vetted by the Bar Association, the U.S. Bar Association, and everything else. So yeah, they're all fucking lawyers.
Like there is. Lyman is technically right in the fact that like the people argue over the wording and the meaning and the implied meaning and the letter of the law and the spirit of the law and all these different things constantly. always. So he's technically right.
I mean, even for like a criminal proceeding, they'll sit there and bicker over if a single like flick of the finger is the difference between assault and non-assault, or if it's just battery or negligence. Was it intentional? Was it not? Like, they will bicker over the actions versus the words versus how it's worded. Like, that is literally the point of a lawyer and a judge. And the judge doesn't decide that. They look at the arguments versus the jurisprudence and stare decisis, and they figure out.
In some cases they do, but in a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point of the legal system. Like, I mean, look at the loophole with the the hemp bill. It's like they specifically said THC delta 9. Well, technically they don't have to listen to it if they don't have to assume it's
according to your logic, they could just decide and interpret and decide that THC 8 is also illegal based on that without changing anything. The way you're talking.
Some judges could, some lawyers could, yes, and then
that would be perfectly that's exactly how the law is. I understand in practice that's how the law works, but as it's written, that's not actually true.
But as it's written is not as you're reading it like you and I would read a book or a magazine. We're looking at it and putting a lot of assumption. When they're reading this, they're not only just reading that text, they're looking at let's say it's a free speech issue. They're looking at all the free speech decisions, like from the beginning of fucking time forward, looking at all those decisions, if they were appealed, overheld, why were they appealed or overturned or upheld? Like, because in every decision, they don't just say, yeah, you got it, or no, you don't. Like, they expound carefully in their words, because every word that they put on their ruling becomes part of a record that later can be used for or against something as another argument.
We had a law books in Texas just a few years ago. Essentially, it was if there is a cop on the side of the road, whether their lights are on, whether they're at a stop, whether they're in the process of doing a stop or whatever, yada yada, or they're just sitting on the side of the road, just fucking cuz. You either have to slow down to 20 miles below the speed limit, or get to the
next lane over.
The next lane over.
Yeah, it's the move over law.
But in Texas, in the actual wording of the law was so fucked up that essentially, if you didn't, you had to go arrest the officer because you didn't move them over.
Dude, words, like, it's pretty fucking bonkers when you read some of the, like, even from
they fucked it up so bad. If you broke the law, you had to go arrest the officer because they didn't stop you from breaking the law.
And that's honestly why a lot of laws, either in like what they say and what they actually do as a function, are sometimes two very different things on its surface.
Yeah, and that's why I went into earlier about the letter of the law and the meaning of it.
Yeah, there's like the letter of the law, the meaning of the law, and then as it stands right this second.
Or, sorry, the spirit of, like, whatever. Like, right. I think that's the term that's used more often. Letter of the law and spirit of the law.
Well, like, letter of the law is how it's written. Like, what it does is what it does, and the spirit of the law is what the intent is, and if it actually, like, if I write something that, like that police example you just said, it's like, well, was there, like, the spirit of the law would be like questioning, was this really written to have people have to arrest the police? And it's like, obviously no.
It was so fucking bad. Dude, like, it gave me an aneurysm trying what they actually wrote. I thought I was reading a fucking Biden speech.
Well, yeah.
and then like the 100 years within the next year, and I love kids jumping on my lap because I got blonde hair on my lip.
Well, and it also, like, even with like free speech and stuff like that, it's like it's pretty fucking like wide open, but there are like hard exceptions where it's like, I can't threaten you, Like I
Right.
couldn't like come like wait for you outside your house or call your house and be like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Like technically,
Unless they yell at you about not wearing a mask while you're unloading your groceries, in which case you can say you want to because that's a crazy motherfucker.
but even then, even if they charged you with something for that, they'd have to prove that your intent was actually to do this and not your intent to drive him off from harassing you. Like that's like it gets so fucking complicated. Like when you read a bill and it sounds all nice, like to the average person it might just read like, oh, here's what it does, or here's what the law does. But then like when you have attorneys and judges and legal scholars start ripping through it,
Professional liars and douchebags.
well, I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, there's a whole metric ton of those.
Depends on what your definition of is.
Well, and you know what's funny? This is the funny part, is we all make fun of that, but that's actually, I'm not saying for him, but that is actually a debate that does occur.
It was a legitimate legal defense. Like it was a legitimate legal defense, which is why.
Well, and honestly, that kind of fine-tooth comb and like what the intent is and all this other stuff. It's like at the end of the day, right now, as it stands, unless they decide to overturn Chevron deference, which would be the end of checks and balances, except for one specific scenario that could possibly ever exist. Basically, all that does is like, if I'm a certain government entity and I'm a special committee or something, and we come up with legislation and you're, and it ends up on the Supreme Court and you're the Supreme Court justice, like if you would ask us what this does, kind of to find out what the intent is and what we believe it functionally does. And then the Supreme Court's job is literally to look at what it does and decide if it is constitutional. Like that is their job. If Chevron deference goes away, they no longer have to defer to somebody, the entity that wrote it or the group that wrote it. They can determine and decide for themselves what it does and then decide if it's constitutional, which is super bad because I mean, the only way to ever override a Supreme Court is to have the executive and the full legislative in agreement. Like you'd have to be able to pass the endorsement of a president, a vote in the House and a vote in the Senate to negate it. Which that never happens. That literally has never fucking happened.
That would be it's one half in the House, or sorry, one half in the Senate and one half in the Senate, 2/3 in the House, or is it which? Because I know it's only one half and then 2/3. I don't remember which one is which.
It's a simple majority, which is above 50% in the House, and then for that it requires a majority, not a simple majority, which is 2/3.
Okay.
What about Pelosi's haircut, dude?
I think she should have worn a fucking mask and had somebody come to her house instead of going out.
I can't believe the gall she had to yes, she should have worn the mask. Like fucking everyone in there should have been wearing a mask because even some of the workers fucking weren't wearing masks. And
dude, that's rich people privilege right there. You know what? I'm above. No, I'm criticizing. I'm not saying it is a good thing. I'm saying like it is not a party issue. It is a fucking rich people fucking problem where it's like the same people that think they can park in a parking space because $500 ticket is just the price of parking versus somebody else eating shit and not being able to pay their bills because they got a $40 speeding ticket. Like it's part of the privilege where it's like I have my notoriety and I have my money. Sure, I'll ask you to do it.
I just cannot believe the gall she had to go. I was set up.
Dude,
bitch,
yeah.
no.
She was like indignant, dude.
Like,
well, how dare that
literally everything that came out after the fact said, no, this is a lying bitch. Because not only did not the salon owner call it in, not any of the employees called it in. Some random other chick who was in a different room that just noticed her when she was walking past her room that saw Nancy Pelosi walking in there, she's the one that made the call and let everyone fucking. I was like, oh, Nancy. The random other client that was getting their hair done is the one who did all this. How fucking no? Like, it wasn't a setup. You just got caught doing something dumb.
No, here's what I had read had happened.
Hypocritical, dude, for sure.
Here's what I read that happened. I read, and I haven't looked deeply into it, so you could be totally right. I don't know if that's the preliminary stuff, and this came out later, is that she had asked them to open so she could get whatever she was getting done. And then the owner supplied the security tapes to Fox News. And that's what broke it. At least that's according to anything that I've read so far.
Yes, after the fact. Like,
what do you mean?
It became a story because the client was one. Originally, I think it was just some journalist friend that she had at like a newspaper or a blog or a magazine, what the fuck ever. And then it kept getting bigger and bigger from there. And then Fox was the one that that came to her for like, hey, we heard there was cameras. Do you have footage of this? And then she sent that to Fox. Like the sorry, like after the fact, Fox came to the salon owner and asked, "Hey, we heard there was cameras involved in this whole Nancy Pelosi thing. Do you have the footage of that? Can we have that?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure."
So I didn't know the first part about there being another client. So if that was the case, wouldn't that make it untrue? The reports that say that she asked them to open.
I've heard that, but I don't know if that's true or false. Whether but I do know that there was 3 rooms in the place, and they like 3 different separate rooms, and the way in the words of the salon owner, well, the way we interpreted the law is not that you could only have one person in the business, but you could only have one person in each room, and that's what they're going with. I don't know if they actually thought that or they just thought, hey, we can get away with this. Whatever, but they
hate that one later if they care.
Yeah. So like there was 4 people in there. There was 2 in one room, and then 1 in each of the other rooms that they had there. I think actually I think it might be a waiting room and 3 separate places to get your hair done. So maybe it was actually all like there was 4 people there total that weren't working. And so, but I know that there's 3 separate rooms, so maybe one of them was just like a waiting room or something.
No, that makes sense. So yeah, specifically what I had read, and I don't remember them being any particularly. It was like some site that just like feeds off of other news articles and just writes like whatever, like Boing Boing and like all these different Jezebel and sites like that. Is that they said that that she had called and asked them to open to make an appointment and all that stuff, and they agreed to. Which, if that is true, then her argument, I'm not saying that it's true, her argument as a setup makes about 10% more sense.
Right.
If that's not true, then there's some really garbage reporting happening right now.
Well, and I've heard that claim be made, but I haven't heard really anything to substantiate it or discredit it. Sure. I just know that there was more than one client in there whenever this whole thing happened.
Well, then it must be false because there's no. I mean,
right? Like unless it was just like, hey, Nancy Pelosi called, so we can be open tomorrow. Like let's bring in some other people. Like that could have happened, but that seems unlikely. Seems like yeah. But yeah, so there was 4 people in there, and they had 3 rooms where they were doing hair. And one of the clients that was in there saw Nancy Pelosi when she was coming in. She was the one that reached out to, I assume it's some friend because it was just some local fucking paper or some shit. And then it went from that her friend or whatever, or her whoever she contacted, it went up to bigger and bigger and bigger media sources. And like there's even a timeline of who got it when, and like it went from like this random fucking thing in San Francisco to this web magazine to this, and then to CNN, and then to Fox, and this, and like to bigger and bigger things, right? Like within just like 4 or 5 hours, like you can see like the timeline of. Fuck! I need to find that thread where I got all of this from, because it was just one of those random, like, I had nothing to fucking do during the lockdown, so I became a journalist type of fucking people.
Yeah.
And
depending on what fucking state you're in.
Right.
Fucking all of those people can't fucking sell more than one article a year.
But yeah, and so like the client, the one of the other clients took it up the chain to the news outlets. Fox is the one that contacted the salon owner. They gave them the tapes, and then within like 12 hours after Fox did the thing, Nancy Pelosi was in a press conference talking about how she was set up, and then everything went to shit. Because like it was after the press conference that all of the crazy Nancy Pelosi is a liar because of this, or Nancy Pelosi is speaking the truth and Fox is just lying because of this, and then all the weird shit happened.
Like at the end of the day,
can we just accept that they're all a bunch of fucking retards and they're all lying constantly?
100%.
Well, and like at the end of the day, let's put it in perspective. It's like she should have had a mask on. Like that's really what it boils down to. And
right.
And it's like
it's almost
I think
like Nancy Pelosi personally thinks that masks should be not required by law, but an option.
By her.
Yeah, no, for her. For her.
But it's like
she's powerful, people. The laws don't apply to her.
And nobody tell her that no matter what her hair looks like, she still looks like the fucking crypt keeper.
I'd love to see them actually put her like finer for it.
Well, here's a fun fact, and this like about senators and House representatives, whether it's state.
They can't be arrested and charged with crimes. I know.
Only within certain, like it has to be in the commission of like certain crimes. They can't be arrested and charged. Like if they go out and like murder their family, they're gonna go to jail. But
well, they'll have to be kicked out of Congress first. Like they'll have to be like
they'll
stripped of their immunity, because like they're still immune to those crimes. Like they can't be charged with that until after they've been stripped of the immunity.
We've been on for an hour and we're not playing League yet. I'm gonna switch over to my desktop.
No, let's do that. What's interesting is the purpose for that. I heard a guy give a speech talk about it. He was an attorney in Arizona, because I sat in on a bunch of like interesting, just like kind of how the state laws work and how laws work in general. And they had a thing right around the time when there was a couple big scandals with some senators in the state. And basically what the idea behind it is let's say you're a senator, right? And there's a vote. You are so ridiculously armored and protected, like legally, for your ability to conduct your business that you need to do, that you could literally hijack somebody's car, run, drive through lawns, do whatever you got to do to get to the vote. And the idea was originally that it would protect people from, it would give them a lot of leeway to be able to make sure they could vote, and so people couldn't prevent them from voting.
Oh, and also to keep, Sheriff Bumfuck from fucking Nevada from just going over and arresting some dude in Texas because he didn't fucking like his politics. You know what I mean? Like,
right. No, Sheriff Joseph Pizza.
They tried that. Basically, they tried like a backdoor version of that with what was that judge that the fucking accused rape?
That federal judge.
The one they were trying. The Supreme Court nominee, I just can't remember his name offhand because I'm fucking stoned, and it was like 108 degrees today. Yeah. But the one that they fucking tried the rape allegations against, they basically tried to like use imaginary crimes to imaginary arrest him in the public so that they couldn't possibly justify putting him on the Supreme Court.
Oh, the
imaginary arrest?
The Kavanaugh thing.
Yeah, imaginary crimes. They're like crimes that never actually happened, but they were basically just trying to use this, like a version of the same tactic of like, because somebody can arrest this person and then they can't be a Supreme Court judge.
Well,
like essentially.
Technically, they can. Anybody appointed can be a Supreme Court judge. You don't even have to be a fucking lawyer.
No, I know.
It's gross.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like that's kind of like that's a modern day example of like that concept being put into like practice or attempting to be put into practice.
Yeah, except like, so yeah, basically, and a sitting president, as of right now, and probably for the next at least couple decades, unless something major changes, like is, like if he goes, let's just say let's pretend it's not even Trump, like who cares, like whatever president, they allow something to happen in the United States that like objectively ends up killing a bunch of people or hurting a lot of people, whatever it is. They can't charge him. There's nothing that explicitly says that they can or can't. And as of right now,
did he just like go mute for some reason?
no. However, the one
Wait, we didn't hear anything you said after can or can't.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. Yeah.
Oh, weird. Discord must have ate shit. So the decision right now, it doesn't say that you can or can't arrest the president, but as of right now, after people argued and bickered, the current ruling is that you cannot. But they do have immunity literally against fucking everything while they're a sitting president. Now, what they can do...
Same with like governors, mayors, your fucking city council members,
not mayors.
Congressmen. Depending on the state, I would assume, because that's a state level decision.
No, not mayors. Mayors in any town in the U.S. can be arrested for basically any fucking crime.
The governors, however, have...
Yeah, the governors is different.
Unless it is a federal crime. For a state crime, they can't. For a federal crime, they can. But you know what? There's also 2 times in our history where governors have pardoned themselves preemptively, and it worked. And so as of right now, historically, and as the precedent that is recognized works, is it is absolutely permissible for a governor to commit a crime, officially pardon themselves before a trial, and it doesn't matter as long as it's a state crime.
There's only 2 people that right now I know for 100% fuck certain need to be pardoned.
Needs to be pardoned?
Yeah, Snowden and the fucking other one that I always forget his name.
Manning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, I don't know if he's waiting for like a second term or what, but yeah, that would be really nice.
Well, no, I mean, like, if he's gonna do a pardon thing, like, it would be at the end of his first term. Or well, no, like the end of his first term, like after he knows whether or not he's getting a second term, whatever. Like, but that's always when pardons come in is at the end of a term. Like, they never do it during the middle. Or
yeah,
like
it's like when Clinton pardoned his brother, it was at the end of his second term because he was like, I don't have to worry anymore.
Bill Clinton, the last day, pardoning Susan Rosenberg.
Edward Snowden will never be pardoned. Like, that's just not going to happen because...
No, it's not going to, but it fucking should.
Not until the beginning of President OAC.
No, dude, honestly,
Jesus Christ, don't start with that.
I honestly don't believe until like the culture of our government shifts away from this idea, like Patriot Act mentality, it's never going to happen.
Please like, never in my presence say President AOC again. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, Satan's still having nightmares, dude. There's a possibility.
Oh, what's the tranny one?
I don't want a president that I hate that much, but also want to fuck.
Yeah.
There was a tranny SJW that was running for like senator or like representative, I think.
Brianna Wu.
Yeah. President Brianna Wu's term. That's when it's going to happen. Snowden. Is that better?
Oh fuck!
Honestly, if Brianna Wu ever became president, and the first thing she did was pardon Snowden, I like, all right, fuck it. Like, she's good in my book, at least for the next like 3 days.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, she's still a fucking
So
crazy
hold on.
bitch who
Yeah,
thinks that
so
that the
fucking weird.
moon is a military tactical base.
It's not?
Who the fuck
Yeah, like
thinks
you can drop rocks from the moon and they'll become nukes whenever they hit the Earth.
I just thought
Dude,
it
I
was a great idea for a
honestly,
movie.
like, wanted her to get elected just for the fucking same reason I want Loomer to get elected, just for the fucking
Well,
sheer entertainment value.
To
And
be
plus,
fair,
it's not like it's the fucking Senate; it's a fucking House. So they
and
can do a lot less damage.
and and here, Stoney, to your comment, you should look up. I think it's called the Zeus. It's something that they've been working on for a hot minute. That is out of the atmosphere, like almost probably a little higher than a halo jump, and it drops tungsten rods out of the sky, and because of the mass and velocity of that, the impact, the energy it disperses when it hits the ground is something ungodly. Like, obviously it's not a nuclear implosion, but it is tantamount to at least the largest bombs that we have that are not full on.
It's just planet
vision.
acne removal. You know, need to get rid of a volcano, hit it with a titanium rod from, out of the atmosphere.
I mean, that seems reasonable to me, right?
Nothing could go wrong, man.
The Soviets used fucking nukes to, snuff out fires.
Yeah, that's
I'm
the way
okay
to do
with
it.
that. That works.
Oh, don't forget stopping a hurricane with a nuke.
That sounds good.
Did they actually try that, or was that just a theoretical thing?
That was
I'm
Trump's
assuming it was just
brainchild.
theoretical.
That was Trump being like, we could drop a nuke. We could
That
stop
sounds
the
like a
hurricane."
Trump. I mean, it really does sound like a Trump thing too.
No,
Like, I can't
it
argue
does.
with that. It sounds exactly like it came out of his mouth. I don't even have to go back and look to be like, yep, that definitely was Trump.
Yeah, he would definitely float that idea.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is that feasible?
I mean, we got all these nukes, these fucking hurricanes that keep knocking down my hotels. Fucking,
We're gonna take our nuke and
Oh,
we're gonna
man.
drop it the biggest in the ocean.
I have to fucking tell you this fucking weird shit that went down with my uncle. Hold on. My uncle is a super at a retirement apartment kind of thing.
Yeah.
And for the past 20 fucking years, he just, because he felt like it, have been giving people breaks on rent here and there because they, had some sob story about needing food or something. I don't know what is true or not. I'm just saying that was the thing.
That's the story.
And he was panicking like 3 or 4 days ago because you can call my mom. The owners are putting software on the computer. There's no way I can hide this from them. They're gonna figure this out. I'm gonna go to prison because he's probably somewhere in the range of like 20 grand or something has been embezzled over the course of 20 years from them. They're fucking fine. They're okay with the whole he's not even gonna lose his job,
Wow.
right? Did anybody see that story being that short and going ending that way? Like, no, he fucking
He's
didn't.
fucking
Just
fired, dude. Jesus
blows my
Christ.
fucking mind.
Like
They're more worried about him cleaning out the unit he was living in because he's moved into a different unit and they want to rent that other one out.
That's pretty fucking nuts. But again, it is California. So.
I just fucking my mind was absolutely blown by that. I thought it was the wackiest fucking thing. Like, oh, you've embezzled 20 grand from us. Well, I mean, are you going to clean out that old unit? Because we're talking about stuff that matters now.
Yeah, because if that fucking shit isn't clean, then you're fucking fired.
Don't get me wrong. I'm happy he's not going to prison. It's just I can't fucking fathom how that works.
Yeah, it seems like a bad precedent to set. But I guess not.
I don't know.
So he didn't even lose his job, right?
No, he's gonna keep being the super
Okay.
there.
Wait, he's the super?
They at least tell him not to do it anymore.
Yeah. You know, I'm sure. I maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to say I wouldn't be sure about anything. in
I
this
fucking no
scenario.
idea. It blows my mind. Yeah, he was the super. Like, so he would like, do repairs or like get repair people if it was something he couldn't fix, and like collect the rent and make sure like interview people that wanted to move in and stuff like that. Get the paperwork done. So basically, like the apartment manager kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that's. I don't know. I thought he was some administrative dude or something, but now he's the fucking super. That's
Yeah.
that's a bit fucking different.
But like legit, he's literally just like forgiven like $20,000 worth of rent over the last 20 years that they just are fine with not having, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking nuts, man.
Right? It's just weird that I can't in the same place. I cannot imagine me being like, oh yeah, no, that's cool.
I guess they still were making enough money to not give a shit.
I don't know. There's like the Santa Cruz area, so I'm sure they're fucking making money hand over fist for rent in that area. Jesus.
Yeah, it's true. I'd imagine the property values over the last 20 years must have skyrocketed pretty fucking significantly.
Yep. Well, it blows my mind is
They
how.
were probably already pretty high 20 years ago. But...
Yeah, true.
So, on a totally different pivot that I'm going to execute so smoothly.
Well, the story was over, so.
I knew see, it was perfect. I need good stuff, good recommendations for stuff to binge on TV.
Silverhawks. Fucking go watch that shit. That shit was
What is
nuts.
it?
If you haven't watched The Boys, watch The Boys.
I have no idea what
Yeah,
either
The
of these.
Boys is good. Silverhawks is a cartoon that is absolutely bug shit insane. I mean, like they're androids because the only way to get to that far out in space to fight the bad guys is you got to be partly human, partly real, or partly robot, partly real, or something like that. Like they got to be like cyborgs essentially.
Interesting.
And they all ride around in this fucking spaceship, but for no apparent reason, whenever they get into a fight, they all just get out of the spaceship, which makes you wonder why do you fucking have a spaceship? Like, what's the point?
I'm on episode 4 of Lovecraft Country, and it's still really cool. I just realized that one of the executive producers on it is J.J. Abrams.
Oh, there you go.
It's on HBO, or I'm sure you can creatively obtain it.
I haven't found a way to get it yet, but I will, I'm sure.
Well, I will do some research for you and let you know.
And the bad guy.
Just go to 123 Movies, dude. They have all of it. They have all of everything.
I didn't see anything on it, but I didn't check more than one site yet. I'm sure, like, if I check the right one of those 123 Movies, will have it. The bad guy in Silverhawks is a evil robot that rides a cyborg squid.
I mean,
how did that Draven kill you? Like, I
don't honestly know. I think Sona maybe popped a heal that shielded him a little bit, and it was just enough for him to pop his nonsense. No, like, I honestly don't know. Like, I hit him. He took half the damage that he had left to lose. Was super low, and then he gained some health. And
I mean, I know the Sona healed him, but I
should have had him.
Right?
I should have had him. I honestly, I didn't want to be salty about it, but I never complain about missing shit like that because, like, usually I either miss it because I missed it or, whatever. But yeah, that I don't understand how that exactly played out the way it did.
Yeah, that was super confusing to me. I don't get how that happened.
Sounds like a get good moment.
No, that was just that damage was like unreal. Like,
yeah, I was like above 3/4 of health. I went in on him, smacked him, and then all of a sudden,
lag switching.
Like, I was getting really, really super fucking hurt, and his little sliver of health would not go away.
Fucking, I get the same shit on Overwatch. That's fucking weird. Where, like, the enemy, like, you get them to a certain point in health, and there's nothing you do will kill them.
Yep, it definitely happens. How's your Vigar doing? Oh, he's sucking.
I mean,
Here we go. I'm gonna flash stun him.
I can't do anything there. Fuck.
Oh my! I didn't expect that echo. That was uncalled for.
Sorry, dude. I didn't like.
no,
if I had the second part of my ult, that might have worked, but I only had the tier 1 up, so.
No, that was gross. Did he get like closet nerfed or something? Like, I feel like I'm not doing dick for damage. And I'm building the exact same way as always.
Wait, Nasus or Vigar?
Me.
I'm sorry, Remis or Vigar? Sorry.
Yeah, Ramus. I don't understand.